One other question. So here I am in the now, and my reality is expressing or showing up. And you say that I think, I could be distorting again, that when whatever shows up, you're a match to it. Is it possible that whatever shows up, you're a match to before because there's a delay? And so if you're feeling cranky here, you're going to create a reality that's going to show up that reflects that crankiness, but it might not be instantaneous. So you might be feeling good in the future, and then a cranky experience might show up, and you'll be like, oh yeah, I created that from that moment back there.
Well, there is some of that, but not significant in the way you're describing it. Here's what you're trying to get at.
Thank you.
We think you're really going to like this. Because your inner being knows who you are and what life has caused you to create, and therefore where you're headed, what you want to experience. If you've been listening to us for a while, you've heard this expression. We offer it all the time: path of least resistance. We want you to hear path of least resistance in a new way right now. It's your path of least resistance, which means it's the path around your resistant thoughts. So life causes you to ask for something new, but you can't all of a sudden just stop believing all the things that you've believed. You've got resistant thoughts, and those resistant thoughts are in your way. But your inner being doesn't ask you to get rid of all resistant thoughts before you receive motion forward. Your inner being will guide you around your resistant thoughts toward what you want. So sometimes the way that plays out a little bit is that you'll be guided to clarity through what you might call negative experiences, and then you want to say, well, that's just the backlash of my negative thought. And we want to say, no, it's because of the existence of resistance that your loving and kind inner being takes into consideration, as your inner being never stops moving you forward no matter whatever. Another way of saying that is, if you have a strong enough desire, it does not matter what you believe, your desire will carry it. Like the mother who finds the automobile on her child, and she's never believed that she could pick a car up before, but she can today because her desire is more than everything. Her desire is so powerfully focused that what she has believed before does not apply. Esther had a stunning experience the other day. If you've been listening to us, you've heard it. You might be tired of it already. We aren't. She has a house in Del Mar, 2 houses, and she hadn't been there in months, and she sat at her desk to look out at the ocean, and the ocean was gone because her own trees had grown over and had blocked her view. And her gardeners came that day, and she said, can you trim those trees on the side of the property there? I can't see the ocean from my desk. And they said, yes, we will. They said they would start right away. A friend came, picked Esther up for lunch, off they went. They were gone all afternoon. The gardener said, we'll trim the trees, but there might be something down in the gully that might be part of your obstruction. And Esther said, well, I only own half that gully, so just make sure that what you cut's on my property. And they gave her a thumbs up, and off she went. She came back after being gone a few hours and stood on her deck and looked out, and the ocean was back. She was so happy. And then she looked off a little ways, and she saw something that upset her. 2 great big tree trunks cut all the way down to the ground. Not on her property, clearly up by the neighbor's property. And she thought, how could they have misunderstood me? Ocean view, great. This not such a good thing. And then she thought, trying to justify it, maybe the new neighbors, or maybe the people who are remodeling that house are new and they don't know about those trees. So a day or 2 went by, and then she noticed a man in a suit standing out on the patio looking at the tree stumps. And he got his phone out and took a picture of them. And Esther thought, I have to go confess. She had not been to the house before. She didn't know really how to get there. It was across a ravine. She didn't know if she had to go down and drive up or go up and drive down. It took her a while to get there. And when she got there, he was gone. But all the way she practiced her story, her speech. I did this. It's my fault. I didn't mean to do it. I will do whatever you need me to do to make it up for you. I'll replant the trees. I'll replant the biggest trees we can get in here. I'll replant your whole property, whatever you want. Didn't mean to do that. But he wasn't there, so she didn't confess, and she didn't make her offer. And then another day came, and she went again to lunch with the same friend. And when they came back, she said, let me show you what I did. And she took him out to the edge of the property, this time walking through the lower house, pointed over, and he looked at the tree stumps and he said, Esther, your gardeners didn't cut those down while we were at lunch. Where's the debris from the trees? Why isn't the hillside torn up? And Esther thought, yeah. Then she walked out to the edge and she looked up, and there was a very small tree on her property, and everything they'd cut from it was still lying right there at its base. And all that had happened is they'd cut down a tree, and now she could see things she couldn't see before. And it shook her up. She said, there must be all kinds of stupid beliefs that I have that are not valid, that I've just picked up. Circumstantial evidence. She was just moving in that direction, and when she thought about it, how could she believe something so unbelievable? They would have had to have brought a helicopter in, hooked it to the tree, sawed it off to the bottom, and hauled it away. That's the only way that could have happened. And yet, because of the way it unfolded, she believed she had cut the trees. Of course, you understand what we're getting at is, as people live lives, they gather all kinds of circumstantial evidence. And by that we mean evidence of circumstances. We mean evidence of what isness. We mean evidence of what is, which flies in the face of what can be. Evidence of what is, which is in the way of solutions. And as people are so determined to focus on what is and believe what is and beat the drum of what is, then they don't have satisfaction. So you have to find some way that you can free yourself of the things that are hindering you from your improvement without leaving you unstable. We are not asking you to get lobotomies. We're asking you to meditate. We're asking you to give yourself a chance for your vibrational frequencies to rise. Here you are, billions of people having all of these experiences and creating magnificent vortices that are collective in a global sense and are individual in a personal sense. And the laws of the universe all working on all of your behalf. And it is possible for all of you to receive simultaneous satisfaction. But you've got to stop needing to push against that one, believing that getting rid of what they want will get you toward what you want, because that is not how it works. The new is born out of what is, but the new stands independently and on its own. And when you allow yourself to focus in the fresh direction of what's new and feel the fullness of who you are, and you're able to meditate often enough that you are in vibrational sync enough that you're looking at your new world through the eyes of source enough, then that feeling that you were describing is yours constantly. You just feel wonderful all the time. And then something interesting happens to you. You so understand the perfection of how it all works, and you so adore your understanding of these principles and your ability to easily apply them, that you teach through the clarity of your example, and you no longer form together in groups that push against this and push against that. Instead, you just let life show you what life wants to be, and then you just focus in the direction of that, and the energy that creates worlds flows through you with such mastery that you create magnificently and joyously every step along the way.
I feel that happening.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
We enjoyed this interaction. This is
awesome.
a good time for a segment of refreshment.